football clubs have been founded within the cities that they're from. And I know United or Liverpool, they're global now. But United are still from Manchester. A lot of people from Manchester still support Manchester United. A lot of working class people. And I hear people saying, it's gone middle class now, the game's gone. Well, come and stand outside Old Trafford with me and I'll show you him and her and her and him. And they're just normal Mancunians who support their team and the normal working people. And they have got an addiction, rightly or wrongly. And that addiction is to their football club. And they do take holidays so that they can go to Crystal Palace away. And when they leave the ground, they find out that because of TV scheduling, the train's already left to go back to Manchester because they don't really care about the match-going fans. And the match-going fans now, they're in a minority. This isn't about the match-going fans. This is about the global support, which clubs like United have got. And I'm pretty proud of, actually, that when I go to Tehran, 6 different people get in touch with me on Twitter, which I thought was banned in Iran, and want to get in touch with me because they're big United fans. And I could do that in almost any country in the world. It's flattering that all these people support this football club a mile from where I grew up. But it's being distorted by money. And it worries me tremendously. The Americanization and American influence, I've got nothing against American people, but it is a different sporting model. I see cities in the US where this franchise system works, and it makes me really uncomfortable, just as I was uncomfortable when MK Dons were formed out of Wimbledon. I remember being in the States and reading about the Cleveland Browns. One of the best books I've ever read was about the Brooklyn Dodgers being taken out of Brooklyn. It's horrific because football clubs are part of their community in Europe.
They have to be very careful, FSG, because if Jurgen Klopp were to leave Liverpool Football Club off the back of this, their reputation amongst the whole fan base will be in tatters. There will be no way back. There will be absolutely no way back. People, what they need to remember is people do not care about the owners or who they are, what they've achieved. Nobody in football has ever sang a song about the owners unless you're Blackburn Rovers and you're Jack Walker because he was a local fella. Nobody cares what the owners do. You're always there to be shot at. And so you're never going to get the pat on the back from the fans. The goodwill will last a certain amount of time when you win something, but there's always the next challenge. And if as an ownership group, you're showing signs that you're not as committed or you're trying to take advantage of a situation, then you're on the back foot straight away. And I don't know how many times they have to learn this lesson. It's just every 6 months, there's something that they get wrong. I just find it astonishing that, they talk about the fans and the greatness of the fan base and the power of Anfield, and they sell that product, and yet not willing to communicate with the fans over an issue that affects everyone. I just think it's, again, breathtakingly arrogant, breathtakingly self-centered, and fundamentally wrong what they've done. I understand that you might not be able to communicate everything that you're attempting to do before an event, but to sell Liverpool's name down the river without even mentioning it to the manager who's come out and opposed this, I just think it's astonishing. I think they made a massive, massive mistake, and they've created more problems than it's worth.
My 18-year-old is furious about this, and he's a Watford fan, but he also looks out for Altrincham and he looks out for United through my heritage. But he is Watford through and through, and he would take Luton Watford on Saturday every single day over Bayern Munich against Paris Saint-Germain. So I don't think you can lump them all. I don't think you can lump them all in together. And I do think there is as we touched on earlier, I do think there's a geographical. It might be a geographical situation rather than a generational situation here. And I think the heritage maybe for us in this country with our clubs is passed on a lot in the same way as it might be in Germany. But yet the attachment to clubs globally, to European clubs globally, is very different. And it might be more transient from fans in, Scandinavia or Asia or the Middle East or whatever it is, and I think it's a geographical thing for these guys more than a generational thing. And on that basis, Adam, I do wonder whether Bayern Munich are the club that could kill this.
On a random Sunday when we're all trying to go to bed, to do this, which is a coup. It's a heist. It's the thieving of joy. It's the thieving of proper competition. To do that is disgraceful. And the fact that it's coming from people that haven't necessarily communicated with their clubs in a very long time. It's coming from people who, it feels like the rich kid who got tackled at five-a-side and gone, right, I'm taking my ball and going home. It's people who have never, ever been the underdog, who've never, ever had to suffer, who've never, ever understood the joy of suffering in football, who've decided that, oh, I've misspent a bunch of money, so I'm going to rewrite reality now so underdogs can never exist. And yeah, like if any of those owners and whatnot disagree, well, we can have a nice conversation about that one day. I think it's a disgrace.
The irony for FSG is that for a long time they've underfunded and overlooked the women's team, and you know the women's football in that, I think it was 700 odd word statement, got I think 27 words to say, oh, and yeah, we'll set up a women's league once this one's all sorted out. It was just, you know, it's been viewed as a distasteful afterthought, as though, you know, oh, we better mention the women's game or they'll kick off or whatever. And it's like, just that kind of arrogance and ignorance is just overbearing, and no one within the women's game has even heard anything. You know, maybe first team managers were starting to get the idea of it a little bit sooner than them, but the women's game were totally in the dark on all of this. That's managers, players. Anyone I approached for comment couldn't comment because they didn't know anything. I think that just shows the kind of disregard these people are showing, and I think they'll continue to show, and that's the worry. That's the worry, because they've shown it now, and is it gonna sort of, are they gonna come out and apologise, and is it all gonna go away? And I think that's the one worry for fans, because you know it just feels like almost I've got to keep talking about it, and you know things will happen, but it just feels like, can we stop it? And I think that's the one sort of issue that the fans have with it, because they feel powerless, and that's never a nice feeling.